Alright, YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So let's get straight into this video. Let's talk about how you're the it guy or the it girl, right? So if you're watching this video, you know that you're somebody you're just it, right? And what I mean by you're the it guy and the it girl, you're someone that's about it. You practice what you preach. You're someone that whatever you say you're gonna do, you're gonna do. Whatever you say you're not gonna do, you're not gonna do. Right? Just in Matthew chapter 5, verse 37, let your yes be yes and let your no be no. Otherwise, everything else is from the evil one, right? And this is who you are. So this is what makes you the it guy, the it girl. You're someone that whenever people see you, they know that you're the one to do the things no one wants to do. You're the one that just straight up tells the truth about everything. You're the one that says you have a goal to hit and you hit that goal. You're not wishy-washy about things. You don't say I might or maybe I'll do this. You're just like I'm gonna do this or I'm not gonna do this. This is how you are. And since your personality is really strong, you have this really strong personality, because your personality comes from God, it comes from the Holy Spirit, and God is a really strong personality. It's really loving, but it's truthful, authentic, and strong. So that's how your spirit is. This is why you rub off people the wrong way, because when people see you, they start to feel different about themselves, right? You start to bring out aspects about them, right? So if they are someone that's authentic, that's like truthful, you bring that out of them and they like you, right? Because they see you as someone that's accepting of them. So they're like, finally, I could be myself around this person. So they're going to like you. If you're around people who are liars, who are wishy-washy, who say they're going to do something, but they don't do it, who just cap all the time, right? If you're around these type of people and you speak to them, you're going to bring that out because you're going to see through it. So whenever they see you, they're going to hate you because they're going to feel a certain type of way. They're going to feel insecure around you. They're not going to want to talk to you, right? They're going to want to talk bad about you. This is what causes random people to start to hate on you, right? Because they see that you're someone who naturally gets attention. You're this natural leader. You're someone that's authentic, that's truthful. You just have this natural charisma about you, right? You have this charisma. And that charisma is just your light. It comes from God. It's the light that you have. You're just a natural light. Even when you're in the dark and you're in a dark situation, you're going through trials and tribulations, you still shine. You still have a light to you. It never goes away, right? Because it's from God. And since you're this way, you're someone that's constantly been thrown in the battlefield, right? And I say battlefield as in you've been thrown through spiritual warfare or through trials and tribulations. You go straight in, right? You're the one for the job. You're the soldier that has that one big job to do, right? You're the only one that could do it. Like, for example, if we talk about the story of Chris Kyle, right? Who was one of the best snipers in American history. And I'm not saying I support war or anything. This is just an example because I'm not someone that supports war. I think it's a bad and terrible thing. But Chris Kyle was the one for the job, the one with the super high skill in sniping, right? And he was able to hit every single target. This is how you are if you're chosen. You're the one for the job. You're the only one that's going to be able to do it so well. So this is why God called you. This is why you have certain gifts about you. This is why you have a certain light to you. This is why you have like a uniqueness to you. This is why you've had people hate you ever since you were young, right? You've kind of had this like weird celebrity treatment ever since you were a really young child. And what I mean by celebrity treatment, I mean you just got attention from a lot of people. You got random people hating on you and you got a lot of people really liking you and like they randomly know you or like they randomly want to talk to you. You've always had this type of thing because people could see that you're it. You're the it guy. You're the it girl. Or you're someone that's about it. You're someone that's going to do what they say, right? Whatever you say, you're going to do. If you tell someone you're going to start doing something, you're going to do it. If you're like, I'm going to start running 10 miles every single morning for a month, and then people think you're lying and they're gonna be like, this person's not gonna do it. No, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do 10 miles every day for a single month, right? You're someone that whatever you put your mind to, whatever you say you're gonna do, like you genuinely desire to do it, you're gonna do it. It doesn't matter what comes in your way. And this is why you face a lot of these, just a lot of different challenges, because you're gonna bulldoze through all of them, right? You're gonna tackle them on. You're not gonna just leave these things in your life and let them hurt you and let you perish, right? You're gonna destroy every single thing that's evil in your life, every single thing that's not serving you. You're gonna go and destroy it, right? Just like a soldier in war is gonna destroy every single thing that is evil. The soldier is there to win the battle, right? This is what you do. And people could see that about you in just your demeanor and how you walk, how you talk, the stuff that you speak, the stuff that you bring up in conversations, the stuff that you say is really truthful and blunt and honest. It's just honest and it's really piercing. So people that can't handle you, they're gonna get kind of intimidated, because they're gonna be like, whoa, this person's way too piercing. This person's really like cutthroat, right? And you're someone that's cutthroat in a good way. Like, you're just about the things that you do. You're not someone that treats people in a cruel way. You're righteously cutthroat. You hate injustice, right? You hate seeing people get bullied, or you hate seeing greed. You hate seeing sin, right? You're someone that's just naturally righteous. You have righteous anger, and the righteous anger comes from God. And people can see that. They can see that you have this righteous anger about you. And there's just righteousness and truth about you. So anyone who doesn't live like authentically, everyone who portrays to be someone that they're not, you're gonna see through it. You're gonna see through it easily, and you're gonna be like, okay, this person's obviously lying. You don't even have to say it either. People can see it through your eyes whenever you look at them. So whenever they look at your eyes, they're gonna be like, okay, this person can definitely tell I'm lying, right? So they're gonna start to hate you. They're gonna be like, man, I can't. This person sees my true self, right? And if the person doesn't like their true self, they're gonna hate you, because you're gonna see through it. And that's what makes you get a lot of attention, because people don't really know how to take you. They're like, this person's this way. Like, this person has an obvious light. Whenever I go around this person, I feel a certain type of way. Like, I feel kind of insecure, or I feel like, why does this person bring out stuff that I don't want to bring out, right? You just naturally do these things to people. You naturally get them to, you constantly reveal people to themselves, right? You're kind of like this mirror to people. So if you're mirroring someone that's authentic and good and righteous, they're just going to see themselves through you. They're going to see themselves through you, and they're going to like what they see. So they're going to like you as well, because they're going to be like, okay, this person makes me feel good about myself. I feel energized around this person. And on the other hand, you mirror someone that's living in sin, living in lies, portraying to be something they're not, acting like someone they're not, being arrogant. It's going to reflect back to them. They're going to, like, as soon as they speak to you, they start to see themselves clearly. This is why you've had situations in your life to where you've spoken to people and then they switch up out of nowhere. Like, at first it could have been kind, nice, and like energetic. Then all of a sudden they start to talk to you a little bit more. Then it starts to get a little shady. They start to like sneak this, or they start to like act different, and you're like, where did this come from? The reason that happened is because you made them feel some type of way. You hit their pride. This is why I've also talked about how being chosen, you attack people's pride, and you don't attack it on purpose. Like, you don't try to attack their pride. You just naturally attack their pride, right? Because God is someone who hates sin, and pride is a sin. And you carrying that spirit, someone could be a really prideful person that's hiding a lot of things and portraying to be someone that they're not. They're gonna hate you, because you're gonna expose that thing. And then this is why a lot of your relationships have gone from people being really nice and confident to all of a sudden they start to hate you. All of a sudden they start to go against you. All of a sudden they start to think you're the one that's arrogant, right? They start to project these things on you. They're gonna be like, no, you're arrogant. This person's arrogant. This person's this person's that. This person's mean. But no, the whole time you just make people see themselves. Anybody that comes around you, they start to see themselves. And that's also what makes you charismatic, is someone who's charismatic sees someone clearly. So whenever people talk to you, they see that you're focused on them directly. They see that you're directly focused on who this person is. So your gaze is kind of this like armor piercing gaze. So you see straight through it. You're someone that they know that they can't lie to, because you're going to know that they're lying. So you have this gaze through you, and it takes someone that's really strong to speak to you, because you've been through a lot of things in your life, and ever since you're young, you've been through a lot of things. You've been through just things that like a lot of people don't go through. Just a lot of toughness, a lot of silent suffering, a lot of things that you have to learn, a lot of things that you've seen that people don't really realize about people or the world. You've seen all these things throughout like a whole life. It's almost like your life has been this kind of boot camp and initiation, right? You've gone through a lot of struggles, a lot of suffering, right? That's kind of what like initiates you into this leader. You become the it guy, right? You become the it girl, because your life experiences have been different. You haven't had a simple type of life. You've had a life that's had a lot of different things going on, a lot of battles you have to face, a lot of spiritual warfare, a lot of things that probably just made no sense, a lot of stress, a lot of frustration, a lot of injustice towards you, right? Could have had a lot of things that are extremely unjust towards you ever since you were young. It's as if you were always given the short end of the stick. You're always given the short end of the stick. You never truly like were able to just live life smoothly. It was always like rougher for you. Whether it was financially, physically, mentally, it was always just like a lot rougher for you. And it's supposed to be that way, because anyone that's a natural born leader, you're going to go through these situations, because you're someone that thinks for themselves. You're someone that sees things clearly in the world. You see what's actually going on with people. You see what's actually going on through the world. You see all the sin, right? You see the greed, the obvious greed. You see the obvious pride people have. You see the obvious things people love, right? People love to serve the flesh. You see all these things, and you naturally, because you carry the Holy Spirit, you naturally have this morality about you. So you know these things are wrong. You know these things are pointless. That's why when people get around you, they can't really hold any power over you, because you don't take the stuff of the world seriously. Because the Bible says not to take anything in this world seriously, because it's fleeting. Only God is unlimited, so you only worship God. So you're not someone that ever worships anyone. Like, you don't worship celebrities. You don't worship money. You don't worship whatever it is. You don't worship anything in this world. So when people come around you, you just treat them as a normal person. Even they could be the most successful. They could be the most this. They could be the most that. But you just treat them as a normal person and with kindness. You don't treat them as if there's someone that's better than you. You don't put them on a pedestal, because you know that's idolatry, right? It's a sin. You're putting them on a pedestal. You're putting them above God, right? If you put anything above God, it's never going to work out. If you put money above God, you're going to be a slave to money. If you put celebrities above God, you're going to be a slave to these celebrities. Whatever they say, you're going to follow like a blind sheep, right? And throughout the world, this happens a lot, because the world lives off of sin. The world is anti-God, right? The world is anti-God, so if people do anything that's not godly, it's a godless world. Especially the Western world, it's a godless world, to where sin is something that you love. Everyone wants to sin. Everyone thinks sin is a good thing. But no one notices that sin just destroys you. Even when it ends up destroying them, they still don't realize it, right? It's right in front of their face, but they still don't realize it. They still don't realize their sin is what's destroying their life. But it's all pushed on people through music, through school, through everything that's set up in this society, is to get you to go against God, right? Or go against nature, do the things that are against what's the actual reality. It's a lot of things that just make no sense. A lot of philosophies that make no sense. A lot of groups that gather together that make no sense, right? They're all anti-God, because they're for the world. And this is what makes you hated, because even before you could have had a relationship with God, you were still this type of person. You would look at someone like really, really loving money or something, and then you're like, okay, money's cool, but like, it's just, just a piece of paper. It's just something I could use so I could buy something. Like for you, it was obvious. It wasn't something that made you have an ego or made you feel like you're better than someone. You just saw it as, oh, with this money, I could get this. So I'm just going to get this money so I can have what I want. But the world teaches you to take that money and turn it into idolatry, right? Only focus on money, chase money, slave away for money, slave away for this, slave away for that. It's constantly getting you to chase things that really have no value, right? It's just things of this world. They don't have any true value. And this is what makes people hate you. And this is also what makes you the it guy and the it girl, because you're freed from all of these. So you walk around in freedom. You don't walk enslaved to any of these things. You don't walk enslaved to money, to where whenever you have a lot of money, you're this confident person. And then when you're broke, you turn into a bum, right? You turn into someone that has low self-esteem. You turn into someone like that. You don't let these things touch you, right? Because you walk in the Spirit. You know that the only thing that fulfills you is God through the Spirit. The things of the flesh, materials, don't ever fulfill you. The more materials you get, the more you're going to want. It's never going to be fulfilling. Anything of the flesh is just constantly, the more you feed the flesh, the hungrier it gets, right? Until it destroys you. The more gluttonous you are, the more greedy you are, the more prideful you are, it's just going to hurt you, right? Because it comes from the devil. The devil likes to tempt you through pleasure, right? It's like the devil tries to tell you, oh, look how good this makes you feel. Look how good this money makes you feel. Look how good this lust makes you feel. Look how good eating all this food makes you feel. Why don't you just keep eating more? Why don't you buy more of these? Right? And the world pushes this indulgence on people. And the world pushes all these things on a lot of people, and people don't see what's actually going on because it's a spiritual war. They think it's just something normal. And then people end up destroying themselves, destroying their health, destroying their mental health, destroying their confidence. All because all of this sin is preached. And you're the person that sees through it, right? Because you've always been able to see through it because of the spirit of discernment. And I'm not saying that you've never fallen into temptation, because everyone's fallen short into the glory of God. But if you're someone that's chosen by God, you're held to a different standard. And it's not that it's just you're held to a different standard. You're held to a different standard because you know clearly what's right and what's wrong. You know it clearly. You know that it's something that you should not be doing. This is why you get heavy conviction whenever you do something that's anti-God. You might fall into sin and you get heavily convicted. You start to feel guilty. You start to feel like nasty. You start to feel like you need to take a shower or something. That's how sin feels to you, because it's dirty. It's something that's not of God. It's impure. So anytime you jump into anything that's sin, you're gonna feel like there's something nasty attached to you. You're gonna feel dirty, and this is what makes you get out of these things. This is what makes you have this light to you, because you know these things are vile. You know these things are pointless to do. You know these things only hurt you. They don't benefit you in any certain way. So you walk in true freedom, and that's what makes people hate you, because they see you and they're like, this person could care less about this, and that. If a person brags about whatever it is they're bragging about to you, like money or something, maybe they're a millionaire, maybe they're extremely rich, or maybe they just make a lot of money, you're not really going to care. Like, you'll congratulate them, but you're not going to care. You're not going to treat them as someone that's higher than you, right? Because you know it doesn't really matter. It truly just doesn't matter. Where like anyone comes around you and maybe they exercise a lot or something, maybe their body's in incredible shape, but they have pride about it. So they start to act arrogant about it and be like, look, I have a six-pack, I have this, I could do all these things, and you're just like, nice. But like, you know that it's not something to be worshipped. You know that it's something that's just we could do because God allows us to do these things. God has given us, bodies, strong bodies, to be able to do these things. But he didn't tell us to be arrogant about it, right? Because you don't know what kind of trouble is going to come your way. So he always make sure to keep you humble. But people that don't live spiritually, people that don't live for God, they don't see these things, so they get stuck into pride, and they end up destroying themselves, right? They start going way too serious through whatever it is, whether it's like fitness. They start to get tempted. Maybe there's someone who works out, then all of a sudden they're not happy about the amount of like muscle they have or whatever. Then they start going into steroids because they start to worship their own body, right? They want to get the best body in the world. and they're not okay with just a natural body that God gave them. So then they go through steroids, and then it leads them to a lot of bad things, and their health gets destroyed, and a lot of problems start to come around. This is what sin does to you. As soon as you go to sin, sin feeds itself. So you start to go to pride, then you start to get gluttonous. You start to get greedy. You start trying to feed your flesh too much when the flesh just wants even more and more, right? And this is what makes you extremely powerful, and this is what makes you the it guy, the it girl, because they know you're someone that doesn't fall for these things. You're someone that's not controlled by anything. You're someone that doesn't go through life wishing they had this and that. You're just like you have your desires, of course. You have something that you desire, and a lot of your desires come from God too, which are something that you're gonna get. You have these natural desires too. But there's also desires that we get from our own flesh that we know are bad for us. So these are called temptations, because the flesh and the spirit are constantly pulling against each other, because your spirit is strong enough not to do these things, but your flesh is weak. So it's constantly this tug of war. And then people see you, they see that you live more in the spirit, so you start to shine, you start to be confident, you start to look more free, you start to look like you're not enslaved by anything. Because sin is just enslavement. The more you sin, the more of a slave you become. So instead of being in sin, you just start to follow God. You start to avoid these things. Then you get true freedom. Because the world likes to preach that sin is freedom, right? Oh, do whatever you want because it's a free country, right? Eat as much as you want. Do as many drugs as you want. Have sex as much as you want. Right? The world likes to say that you should indulge. And people are ignorant to it, right? And God says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. They don't know what they're getting themselves into with these things. So people start to live that way. People start to live in indulgence. People start to live in sin. Then they start to realize it's really just hurting them. They're like, why don't I feel good when I have all of these things? All these material things, all of this stuff I could do, but why am I still unhappy? Then people start to question, oh, why am I depressed when I have all this? Why am I anxious when I have all this? Is because this stuff does not have any value for you. And it's something that you'll never be able to get enough of, so you're never going to be satisfied. The more you feed it, the hungrier it gets. The more you feed sin, the hungrier it gets. The more you feed your flesh, the hungrier it gets. So you're someone that broke free from that through Jesus Christ, right? Christ showed you that that's not the way. That's not true freedom. That's slavery. Sin is just slavery. True freedom is repenting and following God and denying your flesh, right? Denying the desires of your flesh, the hungry desires of your flesh. And what I mean by denying the flesh, the Bible doesn't say you just repress all your desires. It just means you're smart about it, right? Because the flesh will sin as much as it wants. It doesn't care. So you got to deny that. You got to deny when the flesh wants a certain thing. You got to deny when the flesh is starting to lust. You got to deny when the flesh is starting to be greedy. You got to deny when the flesh is starting to be gluttonous, right? You got to deny all these things. And because you're someone who follows God, people see you as someone who's really powerful. People see you as someone who's strong, right? They see you as the it guy, the it girl. They see you as a person with answers. And you may not even have all the answers to everything, but they see you as someone with a lot of knowledge, because you're someone that likely has a really high amount of knowledge, right? You might have a brain that's always active 24/7. You have a brain that's always looking for truth, for knowledge and everything. People could see that in your demeanor. People could see that in just the way that you act. People could see that in your curiosity, and they're like, okay, this person's different. So it makes you really polarizing. A lot of people are going to love you, and a lot of people are going to hate you. But yeah, I hope you guys resonate with this video. If you truly resonate with this video to where like you feel it in your spirit, it just feels like it's correct, then this video is for you, right? Because it comes from God, it comes from the Spirit. It's supposed to hit your spirit. So if you feel like this is for you, then it's likely for you. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, don't forget to like, Don't forget to comment anything below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. All right, God bless you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.